More than 100 quality affordable homes now complete in Salina. The affordable housing project, known as Vanguard Apartments, is a $24 million project that modernized and preserved 118 homes. And thanks to multiple partners and through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, as well as rental assistance demonstration program, people who live in Salina now have the opportunity to not only find affordable but quality housing. It's something Trista Schuler says significantly helped her and her kids.
Having that with my kids makes things a ton better because then I can focus on what they need. I think it's going to benefit everybody really well, especially with the renovations that they've done outside of the house. It betters the community. It makes it look a lot nicer.
The 118 homes are scattered throughout Salina and from start to finish have taken around 3 years to renovate.